My name is Tahla. I'm 22 years old. I live in Australia. I was diagnosed when I was a few weeks before my 16th birthday. The encephalitis I had was NMDA autoimmune receptor encephalitis. I became sick in early 2016 and spent 6 months in hospital from July 3rd to December 29th. And within the first 12 weeks of being in hospital, I was put in ICU and diagnosed with NMDA receptor encephalitis. And during that time, I lost my ability to walk, write, eat, drink. So I had to technically relearn absolutely everything.
Hello guys, I'm talking now and walking.
And as well as that, I also lost my memory of the things I used to do on a daily basis. So I used to play guitar, and I played that 4 years prior to being sick, and I've completely lost my entire memory of how to play. So yeah, things like doing my makeup, even brushing my hair, I couldn't do. Another thing happened was I became extremely delirious and I was hallucinating, which also meant I also became extremely violent and psychotic. I've got quite a few ongoing issues now. I was actually diagnosed with paradoxal vocal cord movement. And then in April 2017, I also got influenza A and was admitted again. I've been under investigation for epilepsy for quite a few years. So 2020 was when I had the first absent seizure behind the wheel. And I went through a red light. And then there was a few absent moments in the kitchen where I was being talked to by my siblings and I just blanked out. So that cost me my license. It's always played a huge part on my mental health. After I had one of my aggressive and violent episodes, the aftermath, I would cry nonstop for hours and then because I would feel that much guilt and I'd be apologizing nonstop. It took many years to figure out my coping mechanisms. I've had a lot of intense therapy, a lot of rehab therapy. I had a speech therapist. So with socializing, language and communication. And then I had a art therapist who was also a social worker. And I was with them for quite a few years and they were probably the happiest memories I had, like during recovery, I think. But yeah, coping mechanisms, I've had a few. One of them that actually worked really well was I got sticky notes, like a load of sticky notes, and I wrote whatever came to mind, whether it was a swear word, a name, a place, a shape, a scribble. I put up all my sticky notes on the wall, and at one point, sticky notes covered my entire 4 walls. And that actually helped a lot. That one actually got out a lot of anger real quick. And then I moved on from sticky notes to a whiteboard. There's nothing wrong asking for help. I will admit being around my friends for the first, and even my siblings for the first few years afterwards was very, very difficult. And that was mainly because I wasn't moving forward in life, but they were. But knowing if I needed them, they were there. Therapy has helped me a lot. And I've been going to therapy for quite a few years since coming out of hospital. And the year I did not go was because I thought I could do it by myself. But turns out I couldn't. And that was a huge thing to swallow, was to go back and ask for help. It took a lot of therapy, a lot of help. It took a long time. But even just to get to accept that my life path is different to everyone else's. So 18 years old, all my friends were getting jobs, getting their first partner, like boyfriends, partners, first relationships. They gain their license, getting their car, they're allowed to drink, they're allowed to go out, they're allowed to do everything I was not able to do. Accepting the loss of, there was a lot of grief about things I weren't able to do. And the loss of it all, yeah. And because of that, I hated the world and I hated everything in it and everyone. And I'm glad I'm out of that because life itself now is a lot, huh? If I continue being that way, yeah, it'd be a lot worse than I'd be a lot worse than I am. People expect you to be, just because you look normal again, they don't actually, well, for me, because I looked like I didn't have a brain injury or I looked normal, it's like they forgot everything that's just happened over the past 6 months. And some people forget that I was actually on my deathbed. Quite a few times actually, yeah. It's been a lot of loss along the way. But I will admit in these last 2 years I've gained quite a few different friends. I lost quite a few, but I've gained a few others and they are pretty great. So a lot of therapy, a lot of intense therapy, a lot of rehab. Tanea, it was actually a lot of help in my recovery. And when I was in an episode, my mum would actually have to call Tanea up and Tanea would call me. And if I was in my room crying my eyes out, being angry, or she'd call me up and she wouldn't talk to me any different. She'd be like, hey, what's up? What you doing? She'd talk to me as normal, which...
Let your bloody parents, let your mum in the house.
Yeah, she would tell me as it is. Tahla, let your parents back in the house. Tahla. You know, but, you know, she would talk to me as normal, which helps me a lot. And yeah, she helped a lot actually through my recovery. And will forever be grateful for her. Yeah, her and her sister, I've known them 12 plus years, as I've said, and they've never once left my side. And then I had Tess and Vicky, who were my social work and art therapists. Having them really helped. I still go to therapy till this day, and I see her on a weekly basis. She has 2 therapy dogs. And I really like my animals, which helps. Back then, one of my biggest coping mechanisms was art and music. So my artwork, before I got sick, so I used to draw mandalas, which are the big circular ones with all the pretty patterns in the middle and they spiral in. After I've got sick, my entire styles changed and I actually submitted into the Encephalitis art show a few years ago. I drew a picture of my hospital journey. So yeah, art has definitely helped, and so did music. I listen to, if I'm in a bad mood, I'll play a song on repeat for hours and hours and hours on end. But also when I was in hospital, the way we found out music helped me was when one of my nurses, Grace, I was in an episode and they started, because I was connected to the heart monitor, and they could see I was getting quite agitated and quite angry, because I was obviously firing up and the heart thing kept going off, and she put on The Sound of Music. I never liked The Sound of Music, but she played The Sound of Music. And for some reason, the minute she turned on that CD player, I sat back down And I listened, and my heartbeat, you watched it on the screen, on the monitor, it stopped and it decreased almost immediately. Even till now, there are days where I definitely do struggle, but I'm no longer violent. In hospital, my mum and dad were told to keep a diary and write down daily logs of everything that's happening to me, and to take photos and videos. So on days where I feel like I'm not good enough, or I struggle with not having the life where I should have been, or where I should be by now with having a license or anything else, I've got a photo album from the 6 months in hospital, and has a picture where I've had the heart attack. And so the photo album helps me remind me where I was and where I've been and how far I've come.